They say that pressure makes diamonds.
Does it really, though?
But sometimes it just makes you cry in the middle of a trail run. Running doesn't just strengthen your legs. It rewires your brain. It teaches you to sit with pain, lean into the boredom, and manage your emotions without punching a squirrel.
You punch squirrels?
Only when they punch first.
Where?
Right in the, and on the other side of that suffering,
wow,
a quieter mind, a more present life. Unless, of course, you're 5 miles into a run and you forgot to start your watch. Well, then all bets are off. Today's episode is about the emotional roller coaster of running, the anger, the euphoria, the breakthroughs, and yes, the public meltdowns. This is the Ostrich Running Podcast. Cue that intro music.
Says you need to fly to reach the top. Keep beating your block till your feet are hot. Get your head out the sand, join the flock. It's okay to run scared, we enjoy the lie.
Welcome back to the Ostrich Running Podcast, the show where running fixes your problems by giving you new ones.
A lot of new ones.
I'm your host, Nick Miraz, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jarett
The Juice
Horton. Today, we are talking about how running helps us manage emotions. And not just the feel-good stuff, but, that rage, the tears, the low blood sugar tantrums.
Do you have a lot of rage, Nick?
I mean, I try not to have rage, but it's there. It's underneath there. And, I think we're going to talk about, how maybe running kind of keeps those demons at bay.
The rat.
Yeah, the rat inside. We're trying to quiet that rat. If you haven't heard that episode, I suggest that you go back and, really check it out. But, we're going to really talk about the stuff that makes you just want to throw your Garmin into a ravine. Yeah, sometimes we have a little anger. I think that's why we run a lot.
Has that ever happened to you?
I've never thrown my watch. I never really had a tantrum like that. There's a lot of growth, but we're actually going to talk about,
Do you punch a squirrel?
Well,
I'm not going to leave that alone.
That's not a real story. I've never been attacked by a squirrel yet.
Really?
Yet.
What would you do if you got attacked by one?
I'm punching that squirrel.
Really?
Actually, you know what's funny though? I've been on a lot of trail runs and I see a lot of squirrels out there.
They get kind of crazy sometimes.
And they're getting kind of brave.
Oh, they've been brave.
Have you noticed that?
They've been brave.
Like, they're not scared.
No.
They're really like pushing the boundaries of it. They're trying to go ahead and see what's going on.
I think they're tired of all you runners.
They're trying to F around and find out.
Oh.
But I've seen it, and I looked, and I've seen a squirrel eye me, and I wondered what he was going to do.
Before we get too deep into all of this, I've been in a marathon ultra fight against this mouse/rat trying to eat my pomegranates.
Oh, how's that been going?
Won today.
You won. How did you win?
I won my internal battle. He finally fell for a trap, and I feel bad because I love animals, but
yeah, well,
since we're talking about squirrels and
rats,
yeah, it's a sad day, and it's happy because I'm going to get to keep my pomegranates.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to do something like that.
I know we're not talking about that today, but I always like to throw in a little tidbit of
yeah, exactly.
It's been a 2-year battle.
Yeah, I mean, you got to protect your
every
fruits.
Year. Yeah.
You got to protect your fruits. Well, what we're talking about today is
protecting the fruit of your mind.
Yeah, the fruit of your mind. I like that. Dang. What was that?
Yeah,
Where did that come from?
You saw that?
Oh my gosh. Okay. All of a sudden, now you're going to start thinking.
Been running a mile a day and taking creatine.
And creatine. Wow. That's your own Rewire.
This video is brought to you by Jarett's Creatine. You can pick it up.
Optimum Nutrition Micronized Creatine. You can pick it up at your local Amazon Fresh store.
Sorry, I'm not getting paid. I'm going to start throwing in advertisements.
But we're in there somewhere. Actually, that is...
Click on Jarett's affiliate link. It'll be at the bottom.
It won't be there. That's actually a future episode. I want to go into a lot of this nutrition diet. That's very interesting to me because we talked a lot about this and creatine and obviously the benefits that it has for training. But a lot of people don't realize that there's some benefits mentally that you
mental
can
clarity.
Yeah, there's actually a study out there. Actually, you guys should keep an eye out because the Juice is actually writing a thesis paper that he's trying to get published in a medical journal.
ChatGPT.
Then you might want to keep an eye out for it because he might be up for the next Nobel Peace Prize.
I'm also writing a paper on why you should not run ultras.
That one's not going to make it, unfortunately. His brakes might be cut on his way to deliver that paper. And,
that's why Nick needs to run more because these are the inner thoughts.
Well, let's talk
Back to
about
this
that.
episode.
Yeah. You know, this running journey has started pretty much as like an emotional rewire. And I talk about this often, not even just here, not even in like, I don't know. How do I explain it? Like when I go out on runs with people and I have good conversation, if I'm out there having a conversation with people just about running, right? Like, why do you run? Why do you do this? Do you like running? The story started.
You guys say no, right?
Well, the story started with me not liking it, right? And I knew that there needed to be an emotional rewire that took place, right? And something happened to me in that day-to-day grind doing something I didn't like. Yeah, and I had this like emotional rewire, right? That took place that I didn't realize was happening until after the fact. Like now that I'm aware of the change that took place, I can call it this emotional rewire. I kind of had to find it on my own, right? I didn't go in. I mean, I guess I kind of intended going in for a change, right? I needed to do something I didn't like. And my hypothesis on this whole thing was like, okay, if I could do something I don't like every single day, what benefits will I, get out of here? And I think, in today's episode, we're going to explore a little bit more as to the science that kind of goes behind it.
I love science.
Yeah, I know this is your favorite type of episodes is science.
Yes. When you guys call it a rewire before we get started, is it a permanent fix or is it
that's a good question.
Is that just muting something?
I don't know.
Like, are you just too tired to let out your emotions for the rest of it?
No, I think there is kind of, I agree. I don't want to say it's masking. There's a few things, right? I believe that it is not permanent.
Okay.
And it is also permanent at the same time. It's like Schrodinger's cat, right?
What do you know about Schrodinger?
Oh my gosh, huh? Look at it.
Like, what is it? Is it dead or alive?
Is it dead or alive at the same time, right? It's not until you open that box till you. Thanks, man. You would think I went to school at some point, right?
I mean, you went to school, but for business. What do you know about that theory?
I went through I got
someone's up late night listening to science channels.
I got the whole college experience. Even though I was older when I went back, right? I was gonna get it all. I was gonna get the hippie, the deep thought, the philosophical aspect where we were sitting in a circle, somebody was singing Kumbaya, and we're like, "Oh, bro, what's the meaning of life, man?" With other college kids, aside from me being with a bunch of other drug addicts and having Schrodinger's cat conversations.
Right.
Those end up different, by the way, because they think it was Schrodinger, the neighbor.
I'm just impressed every day, Nick. Just every day, this guy can talk about anything. You can really call him up and talk about anything.
Yeah, we can do whatever, So you talked about this rewire, right? Is it permanent? Is it, just temporary? I believe that there are aspects of this rewire that take place that, carry you through life, through long term. But much like your muscles,
that's a good analogy.
If you don't use them often, you're eventually going to lose them, right?
Okay.
So it is definitely a muscle that needs to be worked out. It needs to be trained. You need to constantly be giving yourself this kind of rewire stress, right? So, kind of just to jump into it, before we jump into it, we got 3 segments, right? I want to talk about this rewire. I want to talk about a couple stories that happened where some runners lost their cool, right? And maybe we can kind of evaluate what it was. No, man, I don't lose my cool. We have our producer here in the background, by the way. His name is Winston, and that's my son. Winston, do I lose my cool? Okay, he said just a little bit. Well, we won't talk to the producer anymore, okay? So we're going to talk about the emotional rewire. We're going to talk about some instances where some runners may have lost their cool, and maybe what was the case that
Would you say
you
lost your cool at the Dodgers game?
We're not going to bring that up. That's just a topic that we don't talk about. This is a running podcast. This isn't a.
So you had them running.
Again, we're not going to talk about that. I have some notes here, so we have some segments of the freakouts, right? And then I think we're going to go ahead and really lean into, the real lessons, right? running and its emotional training, right? And like what we can find through that, right? But I want to break into this first segment, right? And we'll learn a little science. It's the Juice's favorite moment, science. Yeah.
I'm starting to have a lot of moments.
Yeah.
Ask Juice. I like the last segment.
Juice. Yeah, that's a good one. We're gonna have to bring Ask Juice segment back, but today it's one of Juice's favorite moments, learning about science. Yeah.
Buy my juice.
Buy his juice. This
segment is brought to you by
Minute Maid Orange Juice. We're still going to go ahead and mention you until we get ourselves a sponsorship deal. Minute Maid Orange Juice. It's killer.
Do not say the juice without the Minute Maid.
So, how consistent running teaches patience, emotional regulation, and mental fortitude, right?
Because I don't believe it does.
You don't believe it does, right?
So put the science on.
Okay, yeah. So there's actually two kind of emotional responses, right? Okay. And there is the reactive and the responsive mindset, right? Now, a reactive mindset is impulse. It's like your impulsive response, right? Your emotionally driven response, right? Okay. It's your brain operating in that flight or flight mode. Now it responds to triggers without reflection, right? Now what's happening in this is the Juice's science. It is, dominated by the amygdala, right? And that's the brain's emotional center. This emotional center, decisions are automatic, right? You're not even thinking about it. It's fueled by fear, anxiety, ego. There's just really little to no gap between that stimulus response. So, let's just say you get cut off in traffic and you're like,
right.
The amygdala is weak. It is weak. You're not able to control that, right? I
didn't know that. I always wondered why certain people just react.
Yeah.
Like the moment they feel something,
that amygdala
they just have to do something.
Is there, right? You're another example is you're at a Dodger game and some Angels fan says something crazy and you just keep pushing it off. And then, maybe that's actually a better example you're saying, of my amygdala being strong.
Before you started running, was your amygdala? Was that very, are you saying it was very small?
Oh man, dude, I reacted before my kids, before everything. I was loose cannon. As soon as something would happen, I don't even know what sent me off into these rage, these moments of rage. And I got tired of it, right? I got tired of the fallout. I got tired of the embarrassment of, my reaction, my overreaction at times, and how it left a fallout, right? It made me feel like, very immature, not in control. And it was embarrassing to say the least, right? And before I even started running, I knew I was trying to like escape this old person that I was with a small amygdala.
So you're saying when you started running, it actually grows, you think? Or?
I think it helps you regulate a little bit more.
Oh, so that's a good point because you're constantly throwing stress at yourself.
At it, yes. And in that, when you run, you are putting yourself in a stressful flight or flight state. Okay. Your body starts to get into this state where it's like, am I surviving right now? Mm-hmm. Why are we running? And I think that's the natural like human nature, right? We're running.
You have to cope as this is.
Yeah. And, I had this great conversation on this last run that I went with somebody and we were talking about.
Where were you, Nick? What are you doing at 3 a.m. in the morning? We talked about this on another podcast. And you're not allowed to go running. And I'm sure you're still using some light that's not efficient.
And no, it's a great light. It is a great light.
Does it protect you from bears?
It does not. What is your
emotional
What's my plan?
response? What's your emotional response when a bear's chasing you? I bet the rest of the day.
What was the thing that he said?
That's a good idea.
He had a great saying, and he said, "If it's brown, stay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night."
Sounds super racist.
Yeah, but it's all about bears. Like if you face a polar bear, you're not getting out of there. That thing's going to hunt you down. Okay. If it's a brown bear, it's going to hunt you down, so you need to play dead. If it's a black bear, they're kind of scared.
I'm not fighting a black bear.
But they're more scared of you. So like you got to get big, loud, and go.
Okay. Oh, but don't do that to a grizzly bear.
Don't do that to any brown bear.
What about a mountain lion?
I think they're scared too. They're cats. Cats are really like skittish, like meow.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
I think, so yeah. But what I don't even know where we're at.
I mean, yeah.
So, okay. So the fight or flight. So I'm in the mountains, right? We're running. We're talking about this. I am actually kind of like a big advocate for EMDR therapy, right? In trauma, PTSD. And it's honestly like a therapy that's really helped me cope and process information. What happens in these stressful, traumatic episodes and events in our lives, we disassociate ourselves, right? We learn to just escape and never process any information. So when that stressor, that thought comes back into your mind, you don't know. It's like you're experiencing it for the first time every time. And that's the part of trauma that really gets people with these anxiety attacks. It's their body has not processed the information. I'm not going to say like a normal person, but like the way the brain is intended to process, right? Touching a hot stove, you process that information. You're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to, touch that anymore. But you're not going to sit there and freak out about a hot stove every night.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
So what happens is like you've been through some traumas, you've disassociated yourself. I'm not a licensed therapist, by the way. I've just gone through quite a bit of therapy.
You're pretty good at it.
And you're basically disassociating, you're disconnecting yourself. So your body no longer has the ability to process this information. Right. But when you get that experience, that thought again, you have a panic attack. For example, my nightmares from PTSD, right? The traumas that I went through in the military, it was like I was experiencing it for the first time every time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I went through this EMDR therapy, what it is we're holding two paddles. That one vibrates on the left side, one vibrates on the right side. And as you're telling your stories, you're holding this.
Okay, I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's stimulating your left brain, right brain. And that's what needs to take place in order for you to process traumatic situations, events, scenarios, things like that, right? Much like that, when you're running, you're left, right, right, left, right. And in order to make that happen, it's stimulating the mind, right? And it's very similar in that aspect of like holding these paddles, right? That's why again, I'm not, a scientist. I'm not anything. This is my hypothesis. This is my observation that running is so therapeutic because you're able to process things as you're running, right? You ask me, what do you think about for hours and hours? And I don't know what I think about, but I know that when I think about it, it comes through my mind at a slower pace and I'm able to let it go as well, right?
I mean, it really is a form of meditation.
It is, for sure, 100%. So, as we kind of break down into this a little bit more, there's also a responsive mindset, right? Mm-hmm. So we talked about the reactive mindset and what happens emotionally driven, something that's like really deep and, a fast without thinking, right? Almost automatic response, right? Mm-hmm. So a responsive mindset is the intentional and thoughtful response, right? You create space between what happens to you and how you choose to deal with it, right? Somebody calls you a name and you just sit back. You're like, okay, why is this person calling me a name?
Right.
Why are they doing this? How is this, going to affect me? If I act this way, what is it going to do down the road, right? That is a very clear, great response to some sort of action that's happening to you, right? And I think the goal in all of life is to have a responsive mindset, right? That reactive is good. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. Reactive, I think, has its place in survivability. It is the reason why a lot of people with, traumas who had to go through certain scenarios, the only way they're able to survive is by having a reactive mindset, right? It's strong. A sports athlete needs to have a reactive mindset, right? We need to figure out, I think there's a healthy balance in there. I don't know. I think we need to use it for certain aspects of our lives versus other aspects, but coming from a trauma and kind of like an emotional intelligence portion,
right?
I think we're all striving for responsive mindset, right? Now, what happens?
Why do vets? I mean, maybe we'll get into this later, but why do vets find so much relief in running? Like, I don't.
Well, and I think a lot of that comes with why I'm such a big advocate for EMDR therapy, right?
Like what in the mind, I don't want to say goes wrong, or what happens to the mind as a vet, since you're both, and then what is being healed when you are starting to run ultras.
Yeah, I think what happens through a vet is we go through something so traumatic that we disassociate ourselves from the event itself to protect our mind, because a lot of these things are very traumatic.
Would you say there's a shrinking of
the responsive mindset and an increasing of the reactive, like the amygdala becomes more
smaller, right? You said that control.
I don't know if it's smaller or bigger, but it becomes more in control. The amygdala becomes more in control. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to talk to like a neuroscientist, right? And really break into and I also like you talked about like an experiment that you want to have. And I think it would be such a cool experiment to do at some point in the future for me to run a race, do 100 miles and see my dopamine levels before and after.
Yeah. Or what part of your brain's being activated.
Yeah.
Because maybe a different part of your brain's being activated that's balancing things out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, for sure.
And I'm sure, like you're saying, even just the thinking or the moving from right to left is like...
Yeah, so and this is where I think the healing comes into play with this, right? Why it's such a good opportunity for people with traumas, veterans, things like that. Because we get that long-term approach to really strengthening our mind and processing that information, right?
Has there ever been a book published on the science of running?
I'm sure there's a few, man. Right. And if anybody has any actual recommendations, please, DM us. We love our little book club, that we have. We would like to, be able to read. Well, I'd like to listen to a book on my long runs.
Because I read about what happens when you're meditating.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this has a lot of similarities.
Well, let me tell you what's actually happening neurologically when we have that responsive mindset, right? So there's actually more activity in the prefrontal cortex, right? It's the brain's CEO, right? Mm-hmm. It's responsible for execution, function, decision-making, and empathy, right? And as we know, like we've seen young men charged for crimes, right? And their defense is that they were underdeveloped on the prefrontal cortex area.
Okay, right? Yeah, I've heard about this with murderers or something too.
So a lot of serial killers, psychopaths, like that prefrontal cortex is not as strong as regulated.
This guy is scientific again. Knows something else.
Just one more thing. Of course, it's about serial killers, right? And psychopaths. But yeah, so again, you're feeling angry during a race, but you choose to stay focused, right? I'm so mad that this didn't happen to me, like that my plan that I had on paper is not going through because I forgot something, right? Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine if we could find a serial killer and make him run a long distance just to see? I mean, he probably already, but like if we took somebody Halloween in jail,
episode, we have a few.
What happens if we can get a mind thing on a serial killer in prison and just say, hey, you'll get these extra special privileges if you start to run? And I wonder if that
would be something awesome.
That would be crazy.
Study.
Yeah.
Can we make
the benefits of running?
We should get with the neuroscientist and have them level out a runner who's been through a bunch of trauma, a person who's been locked up in solitary confinement, and just see what running does to the brain, right?
Right. And what a crazy,
you're sentenced to running to death.
You're just going to keep
running until you go, right? Okay, so
you want the extra cup of noodles today? Guess what you're going to be doing?
Yeah. So this is how running trains that responsiveness, right? Now, running long runs actually literally give you reps. It's in not giving up when your body screams to stop, right? So like you say, how many laps do I have left on 1 mile? How many laps do I have left, right? When you're going longer than that mile, your body is actually getting practice on observing discomfort, right? It's not giving into that. It accepts emotions without acting on them, right? You're able to say, oh, I want to stop this. I want to stop this so bad,
right?
But you're not. And you just push past it. And you're like, okay, all right, man, I'm not going to stop this. I'm going to let this go. This is
what is that? What What is that word? Is it like one part of your brain that's like stop, and then there's another one that's like, no, we're not going to stop?
It is literally your amygdala trying to respond. Right. It's telling you, your amygdala is saying, Jarett, you're dying. You're dying on this 1 mile run. You're running for no reason. What are you doing? What are you doing? You run further than that, you might find something within yourself that it's actually, you didn't even know was there.
Nice try, Nick. I like my amygdala the size
I like my peanut amygdala, and I like to respond
right where it is.
You leave my amygdala alone.
Or it's so big it's dominating the rest of my brain.
Well, look, you accept emotions without acting on them, and you're actually not really like I think you live in a responsive mindset.
Yeah, when someone cuts me off, I could care less.
Yeah.
I don't even feel anything.
Not me. I'm trying to work on my amygdala, on my psychopathic prefrontal cortex that is so short. I need to work on that a little bit more. But this strengthens your mental muscle, right? And it's choosing your response, which translates directly to like how you show up at work, relationships, in real life, right? So this is the thing that we're talking about, right? This is the rewire that takes place. There is, forcing your brain to go through these emotions and these responses trains you on how you react to it down the road, right? We talked about like the controlled stress, right? And there's actually some really cool things, like Harvard Medical School research shows that exercise increases connectivity between the amygdala, which is the emotions, and the prefrontal cortex, which is your logic. And it helps people respond instead of react. This consistency and repetition of running builds distress tolerance, or AKA the ability to stay calm under pressure, right? So, most people are ghosting their emotions while runners are saying
you have to embrace
they're
them.
like, oh, I'm going to be there. I'll see you. I RSVP'd. I have a long run. Most people are just like, oh God, I just don't want to even feel that today. Oh, let me make sure I do all this so I'm not stressed out. We're always constantly trying to find, like water, the path of least resistance, whereas runners are going head on into raging waters that are coming against them, right? And how do I navigate this, right? And that's the thing, right? And this is how long runs become, meditative once you stop arguing with your own thoughts, right? Now, the core idea in this is that, long distance running forces you to be alone with your thoughts, which is the scariest place for somebody with trauma. That is something that we're, like a lot of addicts, a lot of people with PTSD, we're trying to avoid being alone in our own thoughts.
Was it really difficult for you in the beginning?
Oh, dude, it was like for running, or
just being with your thoughts.
Yes, man. I mean, that's why I had such a bad addiction for so many years. Right. I didn't want to be in my own thoughts. I never wanted one of those thoughts to creep in. I just avoided it at all costs, right? Until it spilled over, till it was coming to the surface without even trying. Right. I mean, it was literally coming out in my dreams at night. I'd wake up screaming, right? And my roommates were like, dude, are you okay?
Yeah.
And that was embarrassing. And that pushed me into even more of a further episode, right? Now, I think that,
I wonder what part of the brain won't let you cry. Like, do you have a smaller...
It's not what you do with your amygdala. It's not the size of your amygdala. It's what you do with it, okay? Long runs activate the default mode network, the part of the brain that's linked to introspection and problem solving, right? Which is great for CEOs, right?
True.
You want to sit there after 30 to 45 minutes of steady effort. Endorphins and endocannabinoids, they increase. They promote calming, creative thinking, and emotional insight. This is such a cool spot because I've been on long runs where I think of great ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hit this moment where, creativity starts flowing. Like every idea, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about this. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I should do this marketing thing. Oh, I should maybe try this product. Why would this not work?
Meditative state. It sounds like when you're running. It's just like
you're in this box and unlocking your mind's potential, not full potential, but a great potential.
Yeah.
And it's all happens.
You guys make running seem so cool.
Dude,
but
it's something cool in there happens. And that's why I'm saying, like,
there's also a lot of bad happening.
Your half marathon experience is not a good base because you didn't train. I think if you truly worked up to something.
I mean, there was definitely a point in there I was floating. Like can I say I was enlightened? I don't know. Like, maybe. Definitely I was dying, actually. Is that the same thing as being enlightening? Like the sun, everything was super bright, and it was just like,
well, that's also like
my body giving up on me because it's like, you have lost your freaking mind.
And what did you think of it? Did you like it? And did you find a moment of peace in there?
No. Towards the end, no.
What was it that you didn't like about it?
It was blissful in the beginning, and then it was just pain towards the end.
But I don't know what my brain was doing. You set yourself up for failure in that, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's. I mean, that's not a case against what you're saying.
Yeah, proper training, right? Like, here's the thing: is how do I explain this? You want your machine, that is your body, to be able to successfully carry you through these moments of clarity, right? And in order for you to do that in a healthy way, you need to create a base. You need to create a regimen. You need to put in, and that's why that rewire takes place, right? Because not everybody can go, 50 miles and find that clarity in that 48th mile, right? You have to put in day after day after day of work in doing something to get to that point, right? And then within that process of doing day after day after day until you can get to mile 48 at least, another change happens, right? Mm-hmm. That stress, right? And I think I have a note in here. I don't want to bring it up too early, right? So let me go down this road a little bit, because it's going to come up here in a little bit, right? So runners, they trigger a cascade of mood regulating chemicals, right? It's not just endorphins, right? It's like what we're used to hearing for the runner's high. It's endocannabinoids, dopamine, neuroepinephrine, and serotonin all at once, right? Now, they found that these endocannabinoids, not endorphins, may be responsible for the euphoric calm that you feel post-run. Now, these chemicals, they cross the blood-brain barrier and impact mood and anxiety directly. Mm-hmm. So it is almost like an anti-anxiety like rush of chemicals that come through, a natural way to find it, right? And yeah, I think it's just through that consistent physical effort, it improves that motivation, the resilience, the attention, all of the stuff, which is critical for, emotional regulation, to allow you to become that responsive mindset rather than the reactive, right?
Do you look forward to running? Like, do you think
not all the time?
The feeling?
Some days I feel like, I really don't want to do this today.
Right.
I'm really tired. I shared this with my coach that that voice comes up often, and it's never changed. It's never gotten less. There's some people who truly love running,
right?
And that's amazing. I love running in my own way, but it doesn't. It's not like something that I dream about. Like, I can't wait to go run, all the time, especially in a training block, right? Because you're pushing your body. So I think there's a difference between running just to run and then running to chase a goal, right? I'm chasing this goal. So in that process, I am pushing beyond a comfort level. I am pushing beyond exhaustion. Pushing
you're training
beyond
like a athlete, like a 100, like a real athlete.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta.
So it kind of is work, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not doing anything, but I am definitely putting in work. Mm-hmm. And there are days that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. Man, I don't want to go out after our meetings in the morning and run in the heat. Rain in one day, the heat in the next day. I don't want to do that. It's just something that's very difficult. But I push that doubt, that voice aside that says, I don't want to do this, and I do it. Yeah. And it becomes easier and easier. And this is what I shared with my coach. I'm like, that voice comes in and I just wasn't really feeling like it, but I shrug it off and I go and I do it. So it's really rewired my brain in stopping that overthinking, right? I've been able to jump into decisions. This is kind of funny. We're talking about the reactive mindset and the responsive, right? It's helped me I feel like the responsive can be a dangerous area. Mm-hmm. You wait too long to overthink it. Mm. The reactive is also a dangerous area because you don't think it enough and you go in, right? This gives me an opportunity to do a little bit of both and figure out like, okay, it's like it's helped my filter, right? Like, no, what the brain is saying is not right. I need to not listen to this part.
Right.
But there are some things that are saying like, you know what, you probably need this a little bit more. And it's just helped me learn my own language a little bit better. Right. The power of choosing hard things, right? That bleeds into daily life, right? That the work, the parenting, relationships, right? So voluntarily doing hard things like running long distances, it builds mental toughness.
So do you think anybody would benefit from ultra running?
I think everybody would benefit.
Really?
I think everybody would benefit. And it doesn't have to be, I understand physical limitations of everything.
Right. And is there a point where this happens? Like, I always make jokes about just running a 5K all the time.
I think a half marathon, I mean, you know what? You could find it all in there, right? In any spot. I think it's the, voluntarily choosing something hard that you have to push through on your own, right?
Is a 5K hard for you?
If I run that thing fast, yeah.
Yeah.
If I go all out, I could be easily sore, It's its own challenge, right? And this is the I think what I'm trying to say is push yourself beyond the comfort level, whatever it is. Yours is a mile. You're probably still finding something, good out of that mile run.
Yeah, I am.
And
every
each time you do it. And that's fine. I think if there's growth, it doesn't necessarily matter the distance, right? I'm not going to give you one for your argument, but I'm giving you one for your argument. But yeah, so like
it all depends on where you're at.
Well, yeah. And I mean, well, here's the other thing is like at some point running a mile is going to be easy for you.
No, I'll make sure it won't ever be.
Yeah. You're just going to sprint it out every time.
Yeah. I probably am. I think I am getting faster and faster.
Yeah.
Actually.
And then now you're like, but there's also, here's the thing is like, I still get sore. All these workouts that we're doing, I'm sore. My body has not once gotten used to this workout.
More.
Yeah. And I like that. Okay. So
you can find Nick on the side of mountains now in the rain.
And soon to
getting
be
ready for
on my treadmill. I didn't tell you about what we bought. We bought a very nice treadmill, but I can't say the name of it because we haven't got picked up as a sponsor yet for them. But
somebody's making money around here.
Voluntarily doing hard things, right? Like running long distances, mental toughness, confidence, and clarity. It bleeds into every part of your life. Relationships, parenting, business. Now, the scientific backing, this is the part that Jarett likes. It's science. Yeah. Studies on hormesis, or the concept that stress builds resilience, show that controlled physical stress improves emotional regulation. Now, delayed gratification, like finishing a run instead of quitting, strengthens long-term goal pursuit and self-efficacy, the belief that you can handle life, right? So running teaches you to fail in a small, sweaty way, so you don't crumble in a big emotional way.
Very deep.
What's the hardest thing you've ever done by choice?
Run that half marathon.
That's the hardest thing you've ever done? I know you've done harder.
Like what?
Starting businesses.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very difficult, but I guess that is kind of like a marathon. In one day, there's nothing been harder than that.
Yeah. Well, you ever yell at a family member?
What about you?
Me? The hardest thing?
Yeah.
Doing this goal of eventually pushing my body. Was
the 60 miles the hardest?
It has its own ways. Like the thing that was hard was being sick and not finishing. And what was even harder was the next day that I felt like $1,000,000. Like I was sick, but like my body didn't feel like it ran 62 miles. So I knew I was like trained, right? My body wasn't super sore. I think the hardest thing that I've done is openly trying to increase these distances in a physical sense, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, all of this stuff is hard, but I don't look at it as hard anymore. I look at it as challenging and exciting to go through this challenge and see where I stack up. So like I give myself a goal, something to do, and where do I stack up on that, right? But
can you rewire the brain in a bad way? Is that even possible? Why do you think running only rewires your brain in a good
I think
way?
we heard that from Dr. Lusk, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you've rewired your brain to be so dependent on the action rather than the actual, like the feeling that you get rather than
toxic.
Yeah. Like what she said, like when the rat goes quiet, who are you? Like if you had an injury.
Such a good name for like a book or something.
I know, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
when the rat goes quiet.
Yeah, like it's just beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. What happens, right? Like, so I think that's where we say we can rewire the brain differently, right? Or in a negative way, right? I mean, this stuff can easily, we're skirting on the lines of addiction at times, right? We are replacing one addiction for another. So it's definitely needs to be coupled. Like if you're running for trauma therapy,
mm-hmm.
The running is just a tool in your tool set. It shouldn't be the only fix all. And I think most people will realize that when you go to therapy, you go to get fixed, you're never fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to say, well, here's your stamp of approval. You're a normal person now.
Yeah.
That's never going to be the case.
Mm.
You have to learn to live with what you have and
whatever this.
Yeah. And just kind of like go along with it. Right. So like, let's talk about this, right? We're talking about like all these runners, right? We must all have, this ability to be, a responsive mindset rather than a reactive, right? We all have to be good, right? We're all run these distances. So nobody should be feeling like this, right? Wrong. Now, if running teaches emotional control, well, then these guys we're going to talk about, they didn't get the memo. But their stories show us just how high the stakes and stress can be, even at the top, right? When it's not about healing, it's about competition, right?
You've never lost your cool out on a run?
No, because I don't have that competition set, like, right? It's not, I'm not out here trying to win a race. So I think my journey's through healing, right? Others, it's a sport. And you've lost your cool in a sport, right?
I'm sure.
Right?
In soccer.
So it happens, right? So I think we have these different approaches to running, right? People who are athletes, competitors, I think they get intense, right? Which is crazy because they're running with people who are like, I'm just out here trying to heal my life, son.
Right, yeah.
And like, get out of my way.
Is that what happens out there?
I don't know, man. They usually start ahead of everybody, so they don't have to deal with all of us dumping and pooping and puking out there, right?
Oh my God.
So look, I have this story, right?
Okay.
Bala Medji and Mahiyuddin Benabarat. They had a trackside fist fight. So at the 2011 European Team Championship in Spain, the French middle distance runners Bala and
I'm glad you're the host, so I don't have to read this.
Exchanged words post race, and then they exchanged punches. You saw the video, right?
I did see that video.
So this was not during the race, but it was after, right? It was on the track in full view.
So what were they mad about?
Media. Well, I don't know. I tried to find a little bit of what they were pissed off about, but you see one punch them,
right?
And they go out and they give it, and they're teammates,
right? Yeah, that's crazy.
So
it wasn't working on them.
Just because we got a track body, don't mean we're about to catch a body.
Means we won't catch a body.
Yeah,
it's a rapper too.
Yeah. Even professionals don't always regulate emotions,
like you at the Dodgers game.
Ego, fatigue, and unresolved personal beefs can explode, especially after maximum physical exertion, right? Now, this isn't about anger management. It's about identity collision under pressure. This is what Dr. Luss is talking about, right? You still have something there, right?
Is it even worse after you've ran, felt what it feels like to heal, and then say you were to quit, or someone told you, oh, you're injured, you're not going to be able to run for 4 months?
Dude, I felt the depression after. So these long runs, they are going through insane hormonal changes.
Right.
Men, women, all this stuff. The imbalance that happens, that's another science that I want to look into, right? And just get to know, is these chemical imbalances. We're flooded with so much, right? I think I've said it before, right? There's a time to recover physically from an ultra distance, and there's a time to recover emotionally from an ultra distance. Some people are just more resilient than others, or they're gotten used to it, right?
Right.
But there are some times where I think you feel depressed, you feel sad, you feel like, okay, it was right. I finished the 50, and then I'm like, well, all right, what's next?
That's why I always say the worst thing as an actor is to actually win an Oscar.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, what's next after that?
Right.
I mean, I guess like at some point you just decide what it is that you like. You're saying faster 1 mile. Somebody else is saying, well, faster half marathon. Somebody is saying faster marathon. Somebody's saying a faster 50, faster 100, right? Whatever it is that you want. I'm sure there's a distance in there. And then there's those people who are like, I gotta go further, gotta go further, gotta go further, gotta go further, gotta go further. But doing further is like, man, it's an undertaking, right? Schedule wise, emotionally.
Yeah, I asked you earlier, what are you going to do after you finish this 100?
I am cross that bridge when it gets there.
Yeah, because you've been mentally trying to get to this point for a long period of time.
If you think about this, man, I've had this idea from probably since I started running, right? And I had a runner friend say, hey, just do some marathons and then, then see where it goes from that, and then do a little bit more, then do, 30 miles and do 50 miles, and then see if you still want to do 100, right? Mm-hmm. I had those years of doing all of those checklists, right? Just saying like, yeah, I do want to go further. I do want to go further, right? Then when I had that idea for the 100 miler, 9 months of training to DNF, didn't run any other race. Now I've been going again for another 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been crazy. So I'm at 18 months into this. This is almost two years of this journey just to get to this. It is going to be.
And who are you going to be if you DNF? Like, what's inside?
Imagine running 1,500 meters like your life depends on it.
Running could actually be worse because your body starts to become reliant on it, and then. Say you had to quit for the next 4 months. Are you more aggressive? Are you more angry?
I don't know.
What do you think you'll become, Nick?
If I DNF?
No, you just have to stop running. I mean, I'm sure.
I have to stop running altogether?
Yep.
Not one bit of running?
You can't. When you couldn't run, when you hurt your, what is it, Achilles?
Yeah, my Achilles.
Yeah. Who did you become? Did you feel like you were going back to the same person that you were before you started running?
I still have a lot of work that I need to do in my life.
You're running hundreds,
because I went back to the old me emotionally.
Was it worse?
I felt like at times, yeah, it's which is
like even
not
angry.
good.
It's like your body's even more.
It's much like an addict. When an addict relapses, they go so hard and they end up dying from it.
Yeah,
there's an emotional relapse, I believe, that can take place. I think you got to just wean yourself off this stuff. It's hard to just stop immediately. It shocks the body. But I think so. You said if I'm not running, then can I do other things? Can I go hike?
No, let's say you hurt your leg.
So you
can't do anything physical.
But you recognize that something happens when we become immobile.
Yeah, 100%.
In the psyche, right? Yeah. Somebody who stops running and just becomes like, a food addict, a drug addict, an alcoholic, they're more depressed, right?
I felt like there was a time when I wasn't playing soccer and I was definitely getting more depressed and I just felt unhealthy. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I got angry. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was another story here.
Okay.
1,500 mile, there was Silas Kipruto versus the Shadow at the big 7 miler.
I want to be the Shadow. If I ever do start running, could I get a nickname? Like
you got the juice already. It was at the 2010 big 7 miler in Davenport, Iowa. 2 elite runners were being closely drafted by another and right on the heels for miles. Now, frustrated by the constant shadowing, Kipruto slammed on the brakes and and came to a stop mid-race, turned around, chewed out the trail runner. Spectators and race announcers were stunned. He eventually resumed racing but lost momentum. And what this reveals is that even in the absence of external conflict, internal pressure can erupt, right? He wasn't doing anything. He was just on his tail, and it's probably really pissed him off. He wanted, some sort of space, right? He was probably dealing with pacing, oxygen debt, and strategic anxiety, and the trailing runner became that scapegoat for him, right? We're always looking for a scapegoat.
I mean, what would you do if somebody was just on your tail the whole 100?
I would probably try to slow down and move off to the side and let them pass.
Nope.
And if
maybe
they kept
I'll show up to
slowing
the
down,
100 and I'll just...
Oh, please
maybe
do that.
We'll put this to the...
Please do that.
Up in the mountains.
Yeah, go ahead, show up there, and then just trail me, Do it.
You would love it.
Yeah, I would love it.
Until, because you see me pass out and roll down the hill.
Emotions.
Would you stop?
Would I stop? I'd stop.
If you knew I shouldn't have been out there in the first place, and this is your chance to finally finish this, and you watch me just pass out.
Would I stop for you? Yes, I'd stop for you.
Even though you told me, Jarett, do not do this. Do not come out here. I'm not going to help you. If you just... you don't have time to waste.
I would stop and I'd be like, I'm going to go get help. And then I'd go to the next aid station. I'm like, there's a guy back there. Go get him. And then I'd continue on. I'm like, I got a mission to do. Yeah. That guy didn't listen. He's a freaking idiot. His ego and everything about him had just made the best, got the best of him. Right. So as we kind of wrap this up here, right. I want to talk about, how doing something like, this voluntary discomfort, right? This is actually the really beautiful thing that I wanted to bring up, right? The science-backed insight behind this, voluntary change, right, that takes place. Mm-hmm. It triggers a controlled stress response called eustress, and helping you build resilience without overwhelming your nervous system.
That was my last girlfriend's name.
Damn it, eustress! Why you always gotta stress me out?
Super old.
Can you name your daughter Eustress?
I wouldn't, but you can.
Okay, Mitch, the middle name.
Eustress?
Yeah.
God.
Janice Eustress.
She's gonna
Horton.
She's gonna have a hard life.
Yeah. But we got to help build that resilience, right, without overwhelming your nervous system. So according to Stanford's Dr. Andrew Huberman, dopamine levels rise not after success, but during effort. So it's really just the challenge. This might actually explain a lot. Yeah. I'm glad we were both on the same page.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure all of us know somebody who finds dopamine hits in the challenge, right? It is massive, which is why
that's very true.
Yeah, which is why that post race you win the Oscar and life isn't the same, because it was the challenge.
Yeah,
getting there that gave you the dopamine. The failures in there were actually what was driving you.
I mean, in a lot of cases, you need to learn how to love the training process.
Oh, it's beautiful. I think it's great. But then isn't that scary to be successful?
Yeah.
Well, you don't until after, right? Until after, you get everything that you were training for, and you look back and you're like, actually, I had a better time going through these challenges.
Well, you tricked your brain, as an actor trying to get the Oscar. It's like you're tricking your brain to love the dopamine of trying to get the Oscar. But once you get it, you're like, dang, I don't know if why am I going through this hard work?
Yeah. Well, I'm
worried to see what happens after you finish this 100.
Yeah. I'm curious too.
I hope you do it
we're going to do a show after this though. We're going to talk about it. I'm a walking science
experiment. Can we do it live?
Yeah.
At every aid station?
Well, does that mean you're going to be there supporting?
I can't promise that.
Yeah, well then I don't need to hear.
But would you do it? Would you stop for?
Yeah, I would stop for you, and I'm like, I'm in a lot of pain. It hurts.
Why do you do this?
I don't know why I did this. Why? Attica. Letting emotions come and go without letting them rule you. You want to choose when you do something hard, like train for a marathon, fast, cold plunge, run 30 miles in the heat. It's not just a flex. You're rewiring how your brain processes stress, right? These voluntary discomforts trigger a controlled stress response, like we talked about, eustress, right? And we just want to make sure that we can We can handle that, right? In a controlled environment. Oh my gosh, my dog farted so bad, and it's terrible. You guys can't smell this on here, but we can smell it. So the discomfort is actually a mirror, right? It shows you where your limits are, and more importantly, what lies beyond them. Discomfort causes a neuroplastic adaptation. Your brain literally restructures itself to better handle future stress. That's the neuroplasticity of the brain, which is so amazing. From David Goggins to Viktor Frankl, there's a consistent theme. Suffering plus purpose equals transformation.
Suffering plus purpose
equals transformation.
I like it.
Now, discomfort shows you what you think of internal dialogue you've cultivated, right? You either spiral like, I can't, I suck, or you shift into, this hurts, but I'm not done. And that I can attest to. I can attest to that. That exactly right there has gone and changed my thing, saying, oh my gosh, this hurts, but I can still do this. But, I just want to,
The only thing is you could do that in 2 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't have to do an ultra, so you can quit.
Well, I have to end this episode abruptly because my kids have sports, but I want to read.
What a good episode. I mean, I learned a lot.
Thing. Running teaches you how to keep moving forward when everything inside you wants to stop. And if that ain't the definition of emotional maturity, I do not know what is. Thank you for listening week after week. Be
nice to squirrels.
Be nice to squirrels week after week. This is the Ostrich Running Podcast. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening.
I just learned a lot today.
We did learn a lot today. Cue that outro music. Yeah, we got a nice producer. Let's go ahead and let the producer in here. Thanks for helping us out with the show today, buddy. Do it.
Cool, bird brain.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Who says you need to fly to reach the top? Keep beating your block till your feet are hot. Get your head out the sand. Join the flock. It's okay to run scared. We enjoy it a lot. I'm an odd kid, like an ostrich. I got a pod, kids. Here's a topic. Blaze your own trail. Don't be cautious. 2 birds, 1 stone's how I rock it. Can't make an omelet without breaking a shell. But the say grew up, now I'm raising hell. Haters gonna hate, yeah, they praying you fail. So put in the work, whether pavement or trail. The grades fell down, but they got to the feet. Run your own race, put this pod on repeat. Shake your tail feather, keep nodding your beaks. Ostrich gang, or you're not my peeps. Who says you need to fly to reach the top?